Running commentary. We are exploring listening to albums. It is a lost art form. We took an hour out of our day. We switched off the phones. We switched off the computers. We did not answer the door. We sat down and we listened to the artist's vision and concept. Kate Bush, Never Forever. The third studio album by Kate Bush was released in the September of 1980. It was Kate's first #1 album and also the first album by a British female solo artist to top the UK charts. It also went straight into #1. Kate had co-produced the album with John Kelly. The tracks on the album are Babushka, Delius, A Song of Summer, A Blow Away for Bill, All We Ever Look For, Egypt, The Wedding List, Violin, The Infant Kiss, Night Scented Stock, Army Dreamers, and Breathing. It was released on the EMI label in the UK, EMI America in America, and the Harvest label in Canada. The work had been recorded between September of 1979 and May of 1980. The album title is inspired by the fact that, in Kate's words, feelings are never forever, and we should be happy with that. The album cover was drawn in pencil by the artist Nick Price. Arising from under Miss Bush's skirt are a range of animals and monsters. The cover was voted the best by Record Mirror in 1980. Kate Bush, CBE, was born Catherine Bush on the 30th of July 1958, making her a Leo. Kate was born just up the road from where I lived as a kid, in Bexley Heath, Kent. She was raised as a Roman Catholic to parents Robert Bush, who was a doctor, and mother Hannah Daly, who was from County Waterford in Ireland. Ricky Harper had been a mutual friend of both the Bush family and Dave Gilmour from Pink Floyd. Kate Bush's demo tape had had about 50 of her compositions on. So while these had essentially been rejected by the record companies, Dave Gilmour had been impressed enough to pay for the 16-year-old Kate to record 3 demos which he felt the record companies could believe in. These demos were produced by Dave Gilmour's friend, Andrew Powell, who went on to produce the first 2 albums, The Kick Inside and Lionheart. Babushka, with its broken glass sound effects, is of course a hit record, and its subject matter is disturbing. A woman pretending to be someone else to her husband. Uncanny how she reminds him of his little lady. Big hit in Australia, #2. I like Babushka. It's a big hit. It's a very, very distinctive Kate Bush record. Delia's Song of Summer, I really enjoyed this. A fly buzzing towards the end. The song was inspired by the 1968 Ken Russell TV movie Song of Summer, which portrayed the closing years of an English composer named Frederick Delius. Blow Away for Bill was written for her lighting director Bill Duffield, who had perished in an accident on her 1979 tour in Port, Dorset. Kate cites this album as being one of her favourites, and I can understand why. It's all of these songs are really just... She creates her own magic. She really does with all of these songs. She believes in what she's doing. She inhabits every song that she performs. All We Ever Look For, it opens doors in corridors sound-wise and finds different sounds behind them. To my mind, this track has medieval sensibilities. Egypt is notable for its use of the Fairlight synthesizer, which until this point Kate's work had not used. This track has amazing vocal expressions, and I think timestamps the sound of this era very well. The Wedding List once again taps into Bush's passion for cinema, and this one draws from Francois Truffaut's 1968 The Bride Wore Black. Kate Bush's material happens very viscerally. She was always very much in her own world and curiously detached from any tangible reality that I remember deriving from 1980. Violin, Kevin Burke plays the violin on this track. It is a much more conventional rock-style song, but differentiates itself with her unique and idiosyncratic use of her vocal style. The Infant Kiss is a literary-inspired song, this time from Henry James's The Turn of the Screw, which had in turn inspired the 1961 film The Innocents. This song deals with the feelings of a governess who has adult feelings towards her young male charge, who is possessed by the spirit of a grown man. Are you still with me? It's a good job the music is good, because the plots on these songs for the average listener are somewhat convoluted. Army Dreamers is a lilting waltz which conjures up young human sacrifice for queen and country. A trigger punctuates the rhythm. You hear a drill sergeant in the background. It's potent subject matter performed daintily. Army Dreamers is, it's kind of a fucked up song. And, I like sometimes how Kate very sort of dances through these real minefields of subjects, It's essentially another one of those songs which is saying, being a soldier's just not worth it. So, tricky subject matter, really. And the fact that she tackles that, I think, is to her credit. She is actually tackling subject matters here. Breathing sings from the perspective of a fetus in the womb. The mother is a smoker. The mother is in a toxic environment. Chips of plutonium twinkling in every lung. A fundamental human function brought to vital creative life. The nuclear threat tannoy. The hopeless chant of what are we going to do? A poignant end to a well-developed long player. Night-Scented Stock, I almost forgot, as my favourite piece on the album, engaging harmonies in a memorable Kate Bush moment. I was absolutely delighted and I bought it instantly. I was like, wow! It was like ABBA have done similar harmonies to this, but when Kate Bush does a sort of ABBA-style harmony, I think people who've listened to this album will know what I'm talking about. It's like ABBA could have done this as well, but they wouldn't have had the imagination to do this. I love Night-Scented Stock. It's about a minute long. And it's just, I'm loving these little amazing pieces of it's just this minute long thing, which is just an absolute Kate Bush classic. It's propelled into one of my top 10 songs from her. In summation, I don't think that there's any questioning Kate Bush's musical chops. She exists in her own world, and intermittently she releases soundscapes from different periods of her life. She was still very much in range of public consumption in 1980, and I think this album is fantastic in its depiction of ideas and personal interests of an artist who thankfully has never deemed it necessary to qualify the evolutionary hum of fellow mankind. In summation of Never Forever by Kate Bush, the final mark from Running Commentary Album Reviews is 86%.